Chapter 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Wait, I'm reborn. Gu Shaoyang stared at his reflection in the bronze mirror, a mix of surprise and resignation washing over him. The kid looking back at him was slender and possessed a handsome, if somewhat pale, face. He was undeniably good-looking. Back in his previous life, he would have been the kind of guy who drove girls wild, a total superstar, but here, it seemed he was destined for mediocrity. He'd been part of the Qingyun sect for 5 years and only managed to reach the 4th level of qi refining. His martial arts skills were nothing to write home about. He'd practiced the Xingyun sword technique until he was blue in the face, but all he'd achieved was a basic proficiency. The Qingyun sect had a rule: any outer disciple who didn't reach the 6th level of qi training realm by age 19 would be sent packing. Looks like Gu Shaoyang was going to be heading back to the Gu family next year. After spending over a decade dreaming of being a disciple, he'd end up as some kind of family lackey. The Tianyuan continent is full of sects, and martial arts reign supreme. The truly powerful can literally move mountains and boil the sea. Now that I'm here, it would be a damn shame to not try to reach the top. Gu Shaoyang's eyes flashed with newfound determination. I refuse to settle for a mediocre life. But his brow furrowed again. Even with a second shot at life, he was still stuck with the same problem: lousy natural talent. Guess I'll start by hitting the books. There's still a little over a year left. Maybe things will turn around. Gu Shaoyang sighed, about to settle into his usual meditation routine, when a voice popped into his head. Generating properties. He froze, and the next second, everything changed. He was still in his humble outer disciples' hut at the Qingyun sect, a simple space with just a wooden bed and a few basic pieces of furniture, but now, translucent bubbles were floating above everything. Wooden bed, vitality *1, comfort *3. Wooden chair, vitality *1, comfort *1. Bronze mirror, vitality *2, earth attribute *1, hardness *1, appearance *2. Gu Shaoyang was stunned. He rushed over to the bronze mirror and tapped one of the bubbles. Incorporate, vitality *2, hardness *1, appearance *1. Holy crap. Gu Shaoyang almost screamed, his face a mask of shock. He could actually extract and absorb the properties of things. Once he'd calmed down a little, he incorporated the energy from everything in the room, then immediately sat down, crossing his legs. When he opened his eyes again, they were wide with surprise. He was right. He could feel that his internal energy had increased slightly. Too bad there wasn't more. The vitality bubbles from the mirror and bed were gone, replaced by countdown timers: 19 days and 11 hours, 14 days and 11 hours. That's how long until the vitality regenerated. Gu Shaoyang considered this, then pulled a pale white stone from his pocket, a Yuan stone, containing a potent concentration of the world's energy, used to help cultivators improve. This low-grade Yuan stone was provided by the Qingyun sect, 1 per month for each outer disciple. His previous self had been too stingy to use them, saving them for when he was really struggling. Over the years, he'd stockpiled dozens, and now, familiar bubbles appeared. Low-grade Yuan stone, Yuan Qi *97. A single low-grade Yuan stone contained hundreds of times more energy than ordinary objects. Gu Shaoyang popped the bubble, and a surge of Yuan Qi flooded his body. The internal force, previously as thin as a thread, expanded rapidly, circulating through him. Using a Yuan stone is 10 times more effective than before. Everyone else leaks energy when absorbing Yuan stone, but I can absorb everything, thanks to my ability. Still, my body's energy conversion rate is terrible. Even after absorbing 2/3 of the vitality, I can't retain it and it goes to waste. Looks like my natural talent really is that bad. Gu Shaoyang shook his head, looking at the Yuan stone in his hand. It was now dull and lifeless, like a normal rock, but at least it hadn't crumbled to dust. It looked like the vitality bubble would regenerate in 3 months and 15 days. That was good news. His consumable Yuan stone could be reused, even if the wait was a little long. Gu Shaoyang was about to incorporate the vitality bubble again when he suddenly stood up. An idea had struck him: if things could generate attribute bubbles, what about people? Chapter 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The Qingyun sect had a huge platform built halfway up the mountain for the disciples to practice martial arts. This was where the outer disciples usually gathered to hone their skills. Gu Shaoyang arrived and surveyed the scene, taking in the light blue uniforms of the outer disciples. He could barely contain his excitement. Outer disciple Wu Yang, Root 2, Vitality 4, Diligence 2. Outer disciple Zhang Hai, Root 1, Vitality 3, Lazy 1. Outer disciple Li Shi, Comprehension 1, Vitality 5, Lust 3. Bubbles floated above everyone's heads, displaying their key attributes, both positive and negative. Besides the status attributes, comprehension, root, and vitality were all valuable to Gu Shaoyang, so, he got to work. Approaching the disciples, whether he knew them or not, he greeted them all with forced politeness. Hey Wu Yang, I've heard great things about you. Zhang Hai, long time no see. I'm Gu Shaoyang, might not recognize me. Li Shi. A senior sister was just telling me about you the other day, been looking forward to meeting you, seriously. Gu Shaoyang went from one to the next, smiling like crazy. With his experience, he was effortlessly charming, and undeniably handsome. Even disciples who didn't know him found him agreeable enough. Still, they were left wondering, who was that guy? Do I even know him? And how does he know my name? Gu Shaoyang popped their bubbles and moved on without a second thought. After collecting from dozens of disciples, his root had increased by at least 20 points, and his comprehension by over 10. Outer disciples, typically at the 4th or 5th level of Qi training, had accumulated plenty of vitality through their training. He'd absorbed more vitality than he would have from 2 Yuan stones. The internal force flowing through his body grew stronger. Gu Shaoyang found a quiet corner and pulled out a pristine Yuan stone. Low-grade Yuan stone, Yuan Qi 102, fusion. A surge of energy coursed through him. He opened his eyes, his face beaming. My root has improved significantly, and the vitality conversion rate has jumped from 30% to 40%. Gu Shaoyang had already approached pretty much everyone in the training area. He'd have to wait for a while before he could start extracting attributes again. Just as he was about to leave, a commotion erupted in the distance. It's senior brother Mo. Senior brother Mo's here. Gu Shaoyang's expression changed. He looked towards the source of the noise. A powerfully built young man with an arrogant air was striding into the area. It was Mo Feng. Information about Mo Feng raced through Gu Shaoyang's mind. Mo Feng, at the 9th level, was one of the top 3 outer sect masters. He wielded the deadly breaking waves triple knife technique. Elderly had praised him, saying he might just grasp the meaning of the sword before reaching the Juyuan realm. Mo Feng was a popular figure in the outer sect. Disciples flocked to him, eager to bask in his glory. Mo Feng seemed to eat it up, occasionally deigning to teach a few tricks to those he favored. This guy's a big deal star. Gu Shaoyang wondered about Mo Feng's stats. As soon as he checked, his jaw nearly hit the floor. Outer genius Mo Feng, Root 12, Comprehension 16, Vitality 20, Arrogance 3. Holy crap! Gu Shaoyang's eyes went wide. He stared at the enormous bubble above Mo Feng, drool practically dripping from his mouth. He had to get that bubble. It was a goldmine. Gu Shaoyang pushed through the crowd, approaching Mo Feng with feigned humility and admiration. Brother Mo, he said, I'm really struggling with the Xingyun sword technique. Could you give me some pointers? Mo Feng glanced at Gu Shaoyang, watched his clumsy attempts, and said dismissively, oh, all you need to. Thank you so much, Brother Mo. Gu Shaoyang retreated, wearing an expression of gratitude, but inwardly ecstatic. Jackpot. Mo Feng returned to his residence. As one of the top 3 outer sect masters and a renowned genius, his lodgings were far more luxurious than Gu Shaoyang's. He was feeling good after his performance in front of the other disciples. But what really boosted his mood was the guidance he'd received from the elder at the scripture pavilion. The long-standing problem had finally been resolved. Mo Feng had even gained new insights. He had a feeling that he might actually understand the meaning of the sword this time. The very thought sent a jolt of excitement through him. The meaning of the sword. Only a tiny fraction of cultivators ever grasped it, let alone before the Yuan realm. Those who did were the most exceptional geniuses. Understanding the essence of martial arts before reaching the Yuan realm could bring unexpected and significant benefits to future cultivation. His rivals, Tang Ming and Xia Qingqiu, were stuck at the 9th level, unable to advance because they hadn't grasped its meaning, but now, he, Mo Feng, was about to leap ahead. Mo Feng smirked. If he, Mo Feng, understood the sword, he'd dominate the next outer sect competition. Without delay, Mo Feng began practicing his signature breaking waves triple knife. But after a couple of attempts, confusion clouded his mind. All the insights he'd gained at the scripture pavilion had vanished without a trace. Even the elder's answer to his burning question had become a blur. It was as if he'd never even been there. Chapter 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gu Shaoyang sat on the wooden bed, a faint jade glow on his face. After a long while, he exhaled and slowly opened his eyes. 5th level of Qi training. Not bad. Even though Qingyun sect's Qiang Ju for outer disciples is just entry level, it's balanced and steady, perfect for building a solid foundation. After extracting attributes from the Mo Feng, Gu Shaoyang's vitality conversion rate hit 50%, and his grasp of the Xingyun sword technique significantly improved. He figured he was now above average in both basic skills and comprehension. In Tianyuan continent, they always judged talent based on vitality conversion rates. Below 30% was considered poor. 40 to 50% was average. 60% was good. 70% was genius level. 80% was monstrous. And 90%? A once-in-a-million freak of nature. As for 100%. Forget about it, nobody could achieve a perfect conversion rate. There was always some loss during cultivation. Maybe I could if I maxed out my root bones. Gu Shaoyang mused. Genius disciples have way more attributes to extract than the average Joe. There are only a few geniuses I can even get close to in the outer sect. Time to find a way to buddy up with those other two. Actually, Gu Shaoyang didn't need to get close. He only needed to be within arm's reach and tap the bubbles on their body, so, it wasn't a completely crazy idea. Outer disciples get 1 trip a year to the scripture pavilion to pick a martial art. The old me was useless. 5 years of training and he still didn't get the Xingyun sword technique. Gotta make this count. With his mind made up, Gu Shaoyang headed out at dawn for the scripture pavilion. He passed other outer disciples doing morning exercises and made sure to say hello to each one, picking up a few points of understanding and vitality along the way. The scripture pavilion, a 4-story wooden building, stood on Qingyun Peak's main peak. The first floor had the most techniques for outer disciples. Inner disciples could access the second floor. The third and fourth. Only for core disciples and senior sect members. To enter, you had to walk through a small corridor. At the entrance, an old man with white hair and a withered face sat dozing. Gu Shaoyang almost walked right past him, but stopped. Bubbles floated all over the old man. Qingyun sect's elder Gonggang, root bone *3, comprehension *14, vitality *1089, evening qi *89. Gu Shaoyang was stunned. Over 1,000 points of vitality. That's like a dozen low-grade Yuan stones. How powerful was this guy? Yuan realm? Ningzhen realm? Revolving pill realm? Wait, no. A Ningzhen realm expert would have condensed vitality into its essence. There wouldn't be any leakage. This old dude was practically on death's door. Whatever. Gu Shaoyang stepped forward, bowed deeply to the old man, and popped the bubbles. Attribute fusion. Instantly, a massive surge of vitality flooded Gu Shaoyang, making his meridian swell painfully. The Yangqi Ju internal energy cycled faster and faster, pushing forward, and suddenly, boom, 6th level of Qi training. The sudden burst of energy didn't go unnoticed. The old man slowly opened his eyes, a flicker of surprise crossing his face, followed by relief. Try Area A, Level 3. There might be something you're looking for there. Thank you, Elder. Gu Shaoyang bowed respectfully, then turned and left. He was grinning ear to ear. All it took was leeching off the old man to jump to the 6th level. This trip was already worth it. As Gu Shaoyang walked away, the old man murmured, the sect's been producing some decent talent lately. 6th level at 18. He might even have a shot at the Jiyuan realm. And that Mo kid is close to grasping the sword's intent. Glad I got to see the sect thriving before I kicked the bucket. He sighed softly and closed his eyes again. Gu Shaoyang entered the first floor of the scripture pavilion. It was early, so there were only a few people milling about. He grabbed a random book from the nearest shelf. Fu Hu Fist, entry-level martial art. Brutal and powerful. That he picked up another. Spirit Snake Sword, low-grade technique. Agile, tricky, lots of variations, decent power. After flipping through several, Gu Shaoyang was disappointed. They were all low-level techniques, some weren't even as good as Xingyun sword art. Remembering the old man's tip, he headed towards Area A, Level 3. Chapter 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Area A, Level 3, is tucked away in a corner. You'd really have to be looking for it to find it. Gu Shaoyang idly flipped through a few books. Zongheng Sword Technique, Mid-Grade, Human-Level Swordsmanship. A blend of vertical and horizontal attacks, with impressive power. Breaking the Sky Palm, Mid-Grade, Human-Level. He realized the martial arts here were clearly a step above the low-grade human-level stuff that was falling apart near the entrance. Gu Xiaoming even stumbled upon a top-grade copy of Wuji Sanzhou. Of course, the higher the level of the martial art, the more it demanded of the practitioner. Sometimes it's better to master a low-level skill than to not understand a higher one. Gu Xiaoming wasn't worried about his comprehension being insufficient. Right now, it was nearly advanced, which was more than enough to master a mid-grade martial art. Considering his future improvements, he decided to pick a more challenging, high-grade book. Wuji Sanzhou. It'd be awesome if there were some swordplay techniques, though. Gu Xiaoming was still more comfortable with a sword. He was just about to move on when someone suddenly appeared from behind a bookshelf. It was a woman. She was dressed in red, tall, and with a killer body. A whip was fastened to her waist. She had a pretty face, but her expression was a little frosty. The woman seemed surprised to see Gu Xiaoming. She hadn't expected anyone else to be there. But she quickly recovered, turned, and started to leave. Gu Xiaoming dashed after her, approached her politely, and asked, "Have you seen Senior Sister Xia?" The woman stopped and nodded slightly. Gu Xiaoming felt a surge of excitement seeing the attribute bubbles. Root *13, Comprehension *9, Vitality *24, Indifference *30. This was Xia Qingxiu, one of the 3 masters of the Qingyang sect's outer circle, just as famous as Mo Feng, the wave-breaking sword. Gu Xiaoming immediately extracted Xia Qingxiu's attributes, including the indifference attribute. As soon as the cold attribute vanished, Xia Qingxiu's expression visibly softened. Xia Qingxiu's thoughts, this clueless guy actually isn't hard to look at. I guess I could chat with him for a sec star. This was a function Gu Xiaoming had just developed. Once he extracted someone's personality attributes, their attitude toward him would change, like Mo Feng before. After Gu Xiaoming extracted his arrogant attribute, he immediately dropped the act and started giving him pointers. Extracted attributes would disappear automatically if Gu Xiaoming chose not to fuse them within a certain period of time. You must have gone to some lengths to find this place, Xia Qingxiu said coolly. Gu Xiaoming smiled. The elder at the entrance gave me a hint. A flicker of surprise crossed Xia Qingxiu's face. No wonder. Elder Chuan Gong always looks out for his disciples. But you're pretty slick to get past him. Gu Xiaoming smiled modestly. Xia Qingxiu asked, "What do you want?" Gu Xiaoming said earnestly, "I was wondering, Senior Sister Xia, what's the most difficult martial arts technique on the first floor of this sutra pavilion?" Xia Qingxiu immediately narrowed her eyes and sized him up. Gu Xiaoming noticed the indifferent attribute creeping back into her demeanor. Heh. With a wry smile, Xia Qingxiu pulled a secret book from her sleeve and handed it to Gu Xiaoming. The most difficult, huh? This is it. Gu Xiaoming looked intently at the title, Sword of Solitary Killing, High Grade, Human Level, Extremely Powerful. This is the most difficult and dangerous martial skill on the first floor of the scripture pavilion. If mastered, it's as powerful as an earth-level martial skill. However, it can also damage your meridians and ruin your foundation. Xia Qingqiu looked at him calmly. Many disciples have been drawn to this sword technique. Think it through. Gu Xiaoming's expression didn't change, and he took the book with a smile. Thank you, Senior Sister Xia. I'm aware of the risks. Xia Qingqiu said nothing else and turned to leave. Gu Xiaoming watched Xia Qingqiu's disappearing back and muttered, "Clueless woman. Next time I use this sword technique to pin you down and show you what's what, you'll be so surprised your double DS will pop out." Gu Xiaoming figured that after integrating Xia Qingqiu's attributes, his current understanding should be upper level, on par with the 3 outer sect masters. If he still couldn't grasp this sword technique, he could wait a little longer and improve his comprehension more, so he wasn't worried at all. A month flew by. In a secluded bamboo forest, Gu Shaoyang was rapidly wielding a long sword. His swordsmanship was swift, ruthless, and filled with a killing aura. After the last strike, Gu Shaoyang stood with his sword, emanating an arrogant and cold temperament, like a solitary peak piercing the clouds, dangerous and imposing. It combines almost hundreds of points of understanding. Although this sort of solitary killing is difficult, it seems extremely simple to me now. With the power of the sword of solitary killing, which exceeds the average human-level martial arts, I could go head-to-head with Mo Feng. Over the past month, Gu Shaoyang had focused on extracting attributes and practicing. He had run into Tang Ming once during this period and had collected all the attribute bubbles of the 3 outer sect masters. The results were remarkable. Gu Shaoyang's absorption efficiency of Yuan stones could now reach over 60%, and his bone aptitude had reached an advanced level. He could be called a genius. Even his cultivation level had climbed to the 7th level of Qi training. If he hadn't used up all the yuanshi his predecessor saved, he might have broken through to the 8th level. Now that the sword art of solitary killer has been mastered, it's almost time to go out and put it to the test. In a few days, there's the half-year assessment and the outer sect competition. It'll be the perfect time to show off my skills and make a splash. Chapter 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. About 100 miles from Qingyun sect loomed the Qilian Mountains. Known for its abundance of monsters and rare herbs, the mountains were a popular training ground for Qingyun sect disciples. One day, a handsome young man in green, sword in hand, ventured deep into the dense forest. It was Gu Xiaoming. The outer reaches of the Qilian Mountains are mostly populated by 1st and 2nd level monsters. 3rd level and above are rare. With my current skills, I should be fine as long as I'm careful. In Tianyuan continent, monsters were ranked from 1 to 9. Levels 1 and 2 matched the Qi training realm of human warriors, 3 and 4 the Jiyuan realm, 5 and 6 the condensing realm, 7 and 8 the Xiandan realm, and level 9 the divine sea boundary. As for monster kings above level 9, they were the stuff of legends. Gu Xiaoming was carefully exploring the Qilian Mountains. His main goal was to bag a few monsters and trade them for cultivation Yuan stones. After a while, a faint, fishy scent drifted on the breeze. Roar! A roar echoed from ahead. Gu Xiaoming's eyes narrowed. Gripping his sword tighter, he cautiously moved forward. Soon, a massive, dark brown bear lumbered into view. Its paws were enormous, like giant fans, and it was swatting at a tree trunk. A 2nd level monster, a power bear. Gu Xiaoming noticed a honeycomb clinging to the tree. The bear was after the honey. The shaking of the hive had stirred up a swarm of angry, poisonous bees, which were stinging the bear, causing it to roar in pain. Bubbles were forming on its body. Power bear, strength *35, constitution *24, fury *14. Gu Xiaoming's eyes widened. He hadn't expected attribute bubbles to appear on monsters, but he wondered how effective these attributes would be for him. Taking a deep breath, Gu Xiaoming channeled his inner energy and charged. The power bear, enraged by the bee stings, spotted Gu Xiaoming and charged back with a furious roar. Gu Xiaoming ducked low, nimbly dodging the bear's swipe, and thrust his sword forward like lightning. Xingyun sword technique, 13th form. Xingyun and Lu Shui. Gu Xiaoming had mastered this basic sword technique long ago, executing it with perfect fluidity. This killing move was as smooth and natural as flowing clouds and water, but when the sword struck the bear's neck, it felt like hitting solid steel, and the blade bent. Enraged, the power bear retaliated with a sweeping blow. Gu Xiaoming leaped back. The bear's paw slammed into the ground, leaving a shallow crater. Gu Xiaoming was stunned. What incredible defense, what raw power, but in the split second of the attack, he had managed to extract the bear's attributes. Strength, merge. Physique, merge. Fury, merge. Gu Xiaoming even absorbed the fury attribute. Instantly, a surge of power coursed through him, tightening his skin, and a savage urge to kill filled his mind. Kill! Gu Xiaoming's eyes turned bloodshot as he slashed out with his sword. A palpable aura of deadly intent permeated the air. This was the single killing sword technique. Incredibly fast and dangerous, the sword moved like a venomous snake, slithering around the bear's armpit, piercing its chin, and driving upward. Puff! Gu Xiaoming sheathed his sword and retreated. The power bear collapsed. The strike had completely scrambled its brains. Gu Xiaoming panted, the violent urge slowly receding. He was amazed. The power bear's attributes had greatly benefited him. The strength attribute added at least 700 pounds to his strength, doubling his arm power. Without that surge in strength, he never could have pierced the bear's tough hide so easily. The physique attribute affected his chi and blood, the strength of his muscles and bones, and his ability to withstand blows. Gu Xiaoming felt a surge of energy. His skin felt as tough as leather, even though it still looked smooth and delicate. Even a warrior at the 9th level of chi training rarely had arm strength exceeding 2,000 pounds. He was already at 1,400. Anticipation flickered across Gu Xiaoming's face. If he could absorb more strength attributes and increase his arm strength to thousands, or even tens of thousands of pounds, what internal power would he wield? He could pulverize a 9th level chi training expert with a single punch. Chapter 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6.3 Days later, Qilian Mountains. Gu Shaoyang stood before the corpse of a massive snake, as thick as a man's torso. Its body was twisted at impossible angles, like it was boneless. It was incredible. The speed boost from this level 2 python is making my body way more flexible. Combine that with the wind-controlling wolf from before, and even without martial arts, my speed is probably 2 or 3 times that of a regular level 9 chi warrior, right? Gu Shaoyang was pretty happy with his haul over the past few days. Not only had he gathered a ton of monster parts, but his overall strength had skyrocketed. Monsters are naturally tougher than humans, so they're loaded with strength and physique attributes. He'd taken down at least 20 monsters these past few days, and now his arms packed a punch of nearly 3,000 kilograms. His energy flowed like a tidal wave, and his muscles and bones felt like solid steel. He still looked slender and handsome, but he felt like a monster in human form. And then there was the crazy speed boost. It was like Gu Shaoyang was practicing some supercharged body training technique, making him several times, even 10 times, stronger than ordinary warriors across the board. He figured that he could now stomp a level 9 chi warrior without even using his internal energy. The mid-year assessment and the outer sect competition are just around the corner. The Yuan Stones I get for these monster parts should be enough to push me to level 8 chi training. Time to head back. Gu Shaoyang decided to turn around. He had barely walked a mile when he heard the sounds of a fierce fight nearby. His expression changed, and he hurried toward the noise. Soon, he saw 2 groups facing off. One side had 2 women and a man, all around level 6 or 7 of chi training. The other side had 2 burly guys, one tall and one skinny. They were outnumbered, but they were both at the peak of level 9. Between the groups was a patch of grass with 4 lavender petals. Gu Shaoyang's eyes lit up when he saw it. 4-petal purple heart grass. This stuff grows 1 petal every 100 years. It's the main ingredient for refining second-grade Yuan Yang pills, and it's seriously valuable. Looks like these 2 groups were fighting over it. We already promised you the 4-petal purple heart grass. What more do you want? The handsome young guy with the 2 women glared at the 2 toughs. One of the level 9 bruisers chuckled. Simple. Let us have some fun with the girls here. and we'll think about letting you go. You animals, that the young man was furious, the two women were mortified and furious. They stood tall, drawing their swords with a clang, and spat out, "We'll fight them, brother," that the level 9 tough guy laughed, "Go ahead and try." The young man took a deep breath and said coldly, "We're disciples of Tianfeng Valley. If you dare attack us, Tianfeng Valley will make you regret it." The big guy sneered, "Who's going to know if I kill you out here in the sticks? I'd be a fool to let you go." The faces of the young man and the two women fell, the two thugs grinned and started to move in, when suddenly a man stepped forward, their expressions shifted, and they stopped immediately. The handsome young man looked relieved and shouted, "Brother, please help us." Tianfeng. The young man cut himself off, his face falling. He could now see that the guy who just appeared was only at level 7 Qi training, just like him. Even with him, the four of them were no match for two level 9 monsters. The two toughs burst out laughing and sneered, "Who's this? Didn't you see we're busy here? Get lost." But the young man ignored them and kept walking straight toward the four-petal purple heart grass. Without even glancing at them, he casually replied, "You guys do your thing, I'm just gonna grab this stuff and go. Don't mind me." Everyone froze, stunned. Chapter 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The two bruisers just stared for a second, then roared with laughter. Pointing at the kid who'd popped up out of nowhere, they sneered, "Well, looky here, a fool. Perfect. Killin' 3, killin' 4, what's the difference? Let's get him too." That the three from Tianfeng Valley looked totally bummed. The young guy, clearly feeling bad, sighed, "This is all my fault. If I hadn't pushed us to come so deep into the Chilean mountains, we wouldn't have run into these creeps." One of the girls shook her head. "It's not your fault, senior brother Lu." Lu, a handsome young man, his jaw set, said firmly, "They're gonna kill this idiot now. I'll do my best to hold one of them off, and you two need to bolt when you get the chance." The girl looked anxious. "Senior brother Lu. No arguments. I've made up my mind," Lu said solemnly, "if they catch you, just end it. Don't disgrace Tianfeng Valley." "Okay," the girl nodded hard, her face full of sadness. Just then, another girl tugged on their sleeves, whispering like she was in a dream, "Senior brother Lu, look." They frowned, then turned their heads, their eyes widened, mouths hanging open, disbelief written all over their faces. "No way." They saw the beefy guy, a 9th level Qi practitioner, swaggering toward the young man, knife in hand, yelling, "Boy, you touch that flower, I'll chop off your hand." Before he could even finish, the young guy, who'd been focused on the four-petal purple heart grass, flicked his wrist and swung his sword at the big guy, like it was no big deal. "You wanna play?" The big guy grinned, raising his sword to meet the blow. His sword flashed, radiating the power of a 9th level Qi practitioner. He was about to teach this kid a lesson. But the instant the swords clashed, his face went white. The seemingly weak sword carried the force of a mountain. The big guy felt like he was being crushed. His sword screamed in protest and snapped like a twig. The young man's sword didn't lose any steam, kept right on going. The big guy roared, his body glowing as he unleashed his full 9th level Qi power, and then, he was slammed into the ground. His chest was ripped open, practically split in two. He was a goner. It all happened in a blink. The three from Tianfeng Valley and the other big guy were completely stunned. 9th level Qi training, taken out in a single move. Didn't this guy only have the 7th level? Was this some kind of nightmare? "Third brother," the remaining big guy roared, grief and rage fueling him as he charged the young man, radiating the full force of his 9th level Qi. The three from Tianfeng Valley saw the young man frown, looking annoyed. He turned slightly, aimed at the big guy, and slashed his sword. A bone-chilling aura flared, then vanished in an instant. The young man casually sheathed his sword, then glanced at the big guy who'd been out for revenge. The guy froze, his face blank, and then, poof, blood gushed from his neck like a fountain, and he crumpled to the ground, dead. Whoa! The three from Tianfeng Valley were speechless. Two 9th level masters, gone with one strike each. What kind of freak was this guy? Way too strong. He hadn't even moved his feet. Killing those two was like swatting flies. The young guy from Tianfeng Valley swallowed hard, cupped his hands, and said, If you don't have anything else, get out of here. That the young man waved them off without even looking at them. Wouldn't want to bother you. We'll be leaving now. Lu bowed quickly, grabbed the two stunned junior sisters, and hightailed it out of there. Once they were out of sight, he stopped and took a deep breath. Scary, that guy. His eyes were still wide with shock. When did Qingyun sect produce a monster like that? What? Senior brother Lu, you think he's from Qingyun sect? The girls gasped. Lu nodded. Didn't you see his clothes? He's wearing the uniform of an outer disciple of Qingyun sect. Are Qingyun sect's outer disciples this strong? The girls covered their mouths in surprise. Lu shook his head. No, Qingyun sect is just as powerful as our Tianfeng Valley. He must be a genius, even among their outer disciples. The two girls blinked and asked, Senior brother Lu, is he as good as our senior brother? Lu smiled wryly. Way better. When he moved, it felt like facing those Jiyuan realm inner disciples. But that's not even the point. The point is, he's only at the 7th level. The girl's eyes widened, shocked. Lu sighed. Qingyun sect has another prodigy. Looks like we're in trouble for the next 4 sects tournament. We might get crushed. Anyway, gotta get back and tell our senior brother. They hurried out of the mountains, not wanting to stick around any longer. Chapter 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Well, look at that, a baby one's hiding under this purple heart grass. Gu Shaoyang reached for the 4-petal purple heart grass, but as he moved it, he noticed another one growing underneath, just like it. This one was young and tender, not even a single petal open, and hadn't been around for more than 100 years. Too bad. Gu Shaoyang looked at the two plants with regret. They were growing together, and pulling one out would definitely ruin the other. The problem was, purple heart grass less than 100 years old was useless for medicine, completely worthless. Let's check the stats, though. It's small, but almost 100 years is still something. Don't want to waste it. The attributes of both plants popped up in front of Gu Shaoyang. 4-petal purple heart grass, medicinal power *812, vitality 102. Purple heart grass, medicinal power *189, vitality 23. Gu Shaoyang stared at the numbers, and an idea sparked in his mind. What if he transferred the medicinal power from the younger purple heart grass to the older one? Could it grow a 5th petal? The more he thought about it, the more it seemed possible. Gu Shaoyang quickly extracted all the medicinal power from the small plant. It visibly wilted before his eyes. Attribute fusion. All 189 points of medicinal power went into the 4-petal grass. Then, right before Gu Shaoyang's eyes, it slowly unfolded its 5th petal. It worked. Gu Shaoyang grinned. A 4-petal purple heart grass and a 5-petal one were worlds apart in value. The 4-petal could only be used as the main ingredient in a 2nd-grade Yuan Yang pill, worth maybe 10 to 15 low-grade Yuan stones, but the 5-petal could be used to refine a 3rd-grade Qi gathering pill, a spirit elixir for the Yuan judging realm, and worth at least 50 low-grade Yuan stones. Now we're talking. Gu Shaoyang carefully picked up the 5-petal purple heart grass, feeling pretty pleased with himself. He could use this to fuse low-year spiritual herbs to create high-year ones, a great way to make some serious cash. Wait a minute. Gu Shaoyang slapped himself on the forehead. Why bother finding spiritual herbs? It would be way easier to fuse Yuan stones directly. Turning low-grade Yuan stones into mid-grade or even high-grade ones would be a goldmine. Then again, he'd never actually seen a middle-grade Yuan stone, so he had no idea how much Yuan power it contained. The exchange rate between low and mid-grade was 10:1. A low-grade stone held almost 100 units of Yuan power. As long as a middle-grade stone had less than 1,000, this could totally work. Gu Shaoyang couldn't resist the urge to try. He quickly stashed the purple heart grass and his earlier loot, and hurried off. Qingyang Town, a little burg nestled at the foot of Qingyun Sec Mountain. At one particular elixir shop, a handsome young man in a light blue robe strode through the door. The shopkeeper, who'd been dozing off behind the counter, snapped awake and rushed over, all smiles. Looking for something, Gu Shaoyang slammed a black leather bag onto the counter. Selling, actually. He opened the bag, and the smell of blood filled the air. It was packed with tiger bones, snake skins, wolf fangs, and all kinds of stuff. The shopkeeper's eyes widened. How many things had this guy killed? Monsters, no less, and second-level ones at that. Second-level monsters, they were on par with warriors at the 8th or 9th level of Qi training. This kid must be pretty strong for his age. Of course, the shopkeeper's own cultivation was weak, so he didn't realize Gu Shaoyang was only at the 7th level, or he'd be even more surprised. Grizzly bear paws, scorpion-tailed tiger bones. Sir, these materials are worth a total of 62 low-grade Yuan stones. The shopkeeper said respectfully. Gu Shaoyang relaxed a little. He'd guessed the price around 60, so the extra 2 were a nice bonus. One more thing. Gu Shaoyang pulled a rough jade box from his robes and gently placed it on the counter. The shopkeeper opened it and gasped, 5-petal purple heart grass. Chapter 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This was top-notch stuff from Jiyuan realm. No wonder the shopkeeper was so surprised. His shop was in a prime location, sure, but it mostly served Qi training realm warriors. He usually dealt in materials from second-level monsters, at best. He'd almost never seen elixirs from the Jiyuan realm before. The shopkeeper was almost upset. Why was such a valuable elixir in such a beat-up box? It was losing potency. What's this worth? 55 low-grade Yuan stones. The shopkeeper looked at Gu Shaoyang with newfound respect. Anyone who could get their hands on 5-petal purple heartgrass had to be a big shot in Qingyun Sec's outer circle. Gu Shaoyang thought for a moment. 110, total. The shopkeeper immediately replied, deal. As if afraid Gu Shaoyang would change his mind, he quickly counted out 110 low-grade Yuan stones and handed them over. Gu Shaoyang paused. Could I exchange half for mid-grade Yuan stones? Oh, sure. The shopkeeper wasn't suspicious. Plenty of strong Qi training warriors liked using mid-grade Yuan stones when leveling up. They were bigger, shinier, and contained more energy than the low-grade ones. Mid-grade Yuan stone, Yuan Qi * 589. 0.1 mid-grade Yuan stone was worth almost 6 low-grade stones, but its value was 10 times greater. That was because the vitality in mid-grade stones was purer, providing a more sustained boost when breaking through. Gu Shaoyang's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. His plan was working. Got any elixirs for sale? Gu Shaoyang asked. Absolutely. The shopkeeper nodded quickly, then pulled out a small porcelain bottle and tipped out a milky white pill. This is a second-grade Yuan Yang pill. 10 low-grade Yuan stones. I can give you a discount if you buy more. Gu Shaoyang examined the Yuan Yang pill. Second-grade Yuan Dan, vitality * 706, medicinal power * 234, toxin * 53. Gu Shaoyang frowned slightly. The vitality wasn't even as good as 10 low-grade Yuan stones. Not everyone could perfectly absorb the Yuan Qi from the stones like he could, but this Yuan Yang pill actually had toxins in it. Too many. It might be useful to others, but to him it was worthless. Yuan stones were still the way to go. Anything better? The shopkeeper hesitated and produced a more elegant jade bottle. Third-grade Qi gathering pill. Jiyuan realm warriors take this. If you're feeling confident, give it a shot. 50 low-grade Yuan stones. Gu Shaoyang checked out the Qi gathering pill. Third-grade Qi gathering pill, vitality * 2122, medicinal power * 456, toxin * 43. Never mind. Gu Shaoyang shook his head. He started to leave, but then changed his mind. Give me 2 Yang Yuan pills. That's all. All right. The shopkeeper was happy to make 2 sales in a row. Half an hour later, Gu Shaoyang was back in his Qingyun sect outer disciple's hut. He looked at a pill in his hand. It looked similar to the Yongyuan pill. Very similar, milky white, but very transparent, unlike Yongyuan Dan, which is uneven and cotton-like white, as if full of many impurities. Second grade perfect grade Yuan Yang Dan, vitality *940. Turns out, removing the toxins converts all the unrefined medicinal power into vitality, improving the elixir's quality. Gu Shaoyang popped the Yongyuan pill into his mouth and chewed it like a jelly bean. I should learn alchemy if I get the chance. Alchemists make a killing. With my talent, I'd be a genius. Feeling the internal force slowly building within him, Gu Shaoyang sat cross-legged and closed his eyes. The semi-annual assessment is the day after tomorrow. I have to break through to the 8th level of Qi training before then. Chapter 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. On the 3rd day, Gu Shaoyang emerged from the hut. His face glowed with health, his eyes were clear, and he radiated an indescribable energy. 9th level Qi training. Gu Shaoyang was deeply satisfied with his progress. He had broken through the 8th and 9th levels of Qi training in one go. The only downside was that he'd nearly exhausted his supply of yuanshi. With improved root bone potential, cultivation is enhanced to an insane degree. So, this is what it feels like to be a genius. Gu Shaoyang increasingly understood the importance of innate talent for a cultivator. For example, with his current superior root bone, his energy conversion from Yuan stones was twice as efficient as his predecessors. It had taken his predecessor 5 years to reach the 4th level of Qi training, but it had taken him just over a month to break through to the 9th level. Granted, the Yuan stones were a huge factor, but he couldn't ignore the role of his improved potential. The difference between superior and inferior talent was already significant, but what about genius level, monster level, and freakishly gifted individuals beyond that? Gu Shaoyang knew this world was teeming with evil geniuses, blessed with talents far beyond the reach of ordinary people. And they likely had access to yuanshi resources as well. How terrifying must their cultivation speed be? Unimaginable. Therefore, in Gu Shaoyang's opinion, superior bones were merely average. He still had a long way to go to improve his own talent. Lost in thought, Gu Shaoyang's figure quickly darted through the outer disciples heading towards the sect assessment. Along the Qilian mountains, his movement speed was dramatically increased. No need to stop and greet people one by one like before. Outer disciples often felt only a gust of wind pass by their ears, then glimpsed a figure appearing dozens of feet away, barely catching a glimpse of Gu Shaoyang. Today was assessment day, so there were far more outer sect disciples on the road than usual. Gu Shaoyang's trip to the assessment location earned him no fewer than 50 points of basic understanding along the way. He casually pulled out a low-grade Yuan stone to absorb, a faint smile gracing his face. The energy conversion efficiency was 70%. He was officially in genius territory. Because his comprehension had been greatly enhanced, his mind was exceptionally clear. He could roughly guess another disciple's martial arts style and overall strength from their posture and movement. If someone were to fight him, Gu Shaoyang could instantly think of dozens of ways to counter their moves. Ordinary human-level martial arts techniques, when placed before Gu Shaoyang, would likely be fully grasped after just one glance. One way to describe Gu Shaoyang's understanding at this time was, he could anticipate his opponent's every move. He could extrapolate from the smallest details. His wisdom was, almost demonic. The small square where the sect held assessments was packed with outer sect disciples, buzzing with activity. Suddenly, a commotion erupted in the distance. Gu Shaoyang looked up and saw the commotion originating from 3 individuals. One had a rough face, moved with powerful strides, and wore a light blue saber on his waist. Mtlnovel. Another was dressed in red, with beautiful features but an unusually cold demeanor, creating an unapproachable aura. It was Xia Qingqiu, whom Gu Shaoyang had met once in the Sutra Pavilion. The last one was graceful and handsome. Not quite as attractive as Gu Shaoyang himself, but still exceptionally good-looking. It was Tang Ming. For the sect's semi-annual assessment, the 3 top contenders from the outer sect had arrived together. Among the 3, Tang Ming was the most popular. he was constantly surrounded by red-eyed female disciples, like a celebrity from his previous life. After the three arrived, two more people, one old and one young, appeared. The old man had white hair and a beard, kind eyes and a gentle demeanor. Gu Shaoyang recognized him from his previous life as Elder Lin, who oversaw all affairs of the outer sect. The other person was dressed in white, his face as cold as a glacier, radiating a power like towering mountains. Gu Shaoyang didn't recognize him, but knew that only core disciples of the Qingyun sect were allowed to wear that white robe. It's senior brother Ji Feng. Why is senior brother Ji Feng here for this assessment? Yeah, I heard he just arranged a match with Bei Linjiang, the young master of Beishua Villa, to compete for a spot on the hero list a few days ago. Why isn't he preparing for that battle instead of watching our assessment? Ji Feng. Bei Linjiang. Hero list. Gu Shaoyang secretly memorized these names, then sighed and turned away. Both Ji Feng and Elder Lin had attribute bubbles that were incredibly tempting. Seeing them made him want to jump on stage and absorb them immediately.